Welcome, Nancy, and thanks for taking a few minutes out of your busy schedule to do this interview. As the head of the Bureau for Democracy, Conflict, and Humanitarian Assistance at USAID, you have a huge area of responsibility. What are some of the biggest challenges that you're facing right now?
You know, the DACA Bureau is really about understanding that when you don't have inclusive, accountable, democratic governance, you have countries that are very susceptible to disasters and unable to manage conflict. And so what we are continually working with in DACA is how do you do a better job of helping countries withstand that crisis and disaster so that they can maintain their development progress. Mm-hmm. And that's everything from building resilience, getting ahead of the chronic poverty where people are buffeted by shocks and falling into crisis over and over again. This is the Horn of Africa, this is the Sahel. Also, how do you ensure that you're prepared for those acute, critical crises like Syria? And you need to have that humanitarian space to go into areas where there isn't much room to do anything but try to just save lives. So we're working on both of those two sets of challenges.
I think we're all worried about and preoccupied, excuse me, we're all worried about and preoccupied with Syria at the moment, but in the context of Syria, I mean, are there other things we should be thinking about or other crises that we're neglecting through kind of the sole focus on Syria?
You know, certainly Syria is huge on everybody's set of concerns. It is an enormously fast-moving crisis with people moving across the borders and having significant impact on the neighboring countries as well. But it's far from the only country in crisis that we're looking at. We've got northern Mali. We continue to watch and be engaged with building resilience in the face of potential continued drought conditions in the Sahel. And you know, there's also the opportunities as we stay focused on helping Somalia, which now has, for the first time in 20 years, the possibility of moving out of conflict. Burma, similarly, is moving into a new possible horizon of openness. And Kenya, which just came through a very potentially violent-ridden election peacefully. Yeah. And so there's always this balance between places where we're seeing opportunity and real progress and the crises where you have to stay focused really on making sure that we're saving as many lives as we can.
So as you look ahead to this year, I mean, you have a job that's so intense and one can get bogged down in the terrible situations, but as you look ahead to this year, I mean, what are you looking forward to doing? What are some of the things that you think are really important that you're in a position to initiate?
So a couple things. One is we've put a lot of energy on trying to build resilience in places like the Horn and the Sahel. Looking forward, we want to apply the resilience agenda to places that are coming out of protracted conflict: Somalia, Yemen, South Sudan. And we think there are opportunities there to really bring together the ways in which we're working on disaster risk reduction and adaptation to climate change with understanding conflict management and building democracy. We're also embracing the National Action Plan for Women, Peace, and Security and really putting women at the heart of how we both think about protection and, more importantly, about bringing women's voice to the negotiating table and to being at the front of food security. And finally, we are, and I know this will be music to your ears, Joel, we're revising the internally displaced persons policy and putting together a vision with our colleagues at State Department so that we think across a broader sense of connecting people who are displaced to the development agenda and creating opportunities.
Well, it's an important agenda and one that I think the NGO community and Interaction want to be engaged with. So we really appreciate appreciate your work and your commitment and look forward to working with you on these issues. So thank you.